Live on digital media from the vast and spacious VPOD-TV studios in beautiful Oak Brook, Illinois, the home of Mike Ditka and Michael Jordan's restaurants. It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, former Breitbart contributor and Liberty Magazine editor, Tim Slagle. This week's very special guest, Newsmax host, Cara Castronuova. And now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Wolf.
All right. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. That hurts. I keep thinking that everybody's watching this on television because, you know, we are on channel 59.3. Is that what it is? Oh, boy. Yeah. And we're trying to move up to 59.2. And if we do well, but a lot of people, such as they are, actually listen to this. So I'm actually knocking on on plywood or whatever, and it's hurting my knuckles every time I do that. To announce the Weekly Wrap, Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle. Tim, so I just saw this item today, that there were like 5 robberies in broad daylight in downtown Chicago and even at Millennium Park. And I'm just wondering if the people are going to be scaling the bean and waiting for a helicopter to rescue them. Oh, boy, we had our Saigon moment. It was worse than Saigon in Afghanistan. That plane going down the runway and the people clinging to it.
Oh, my God, it looked like Spirit Air.
Exactly. Just and you know, you're going to get in trouble. See, I invoked the Twilight Zone, the Shatner line.
Sure.
There's something on the plane, and somebody said, you know, that's not really funny. I'm not in favor of that happening. It's a horrendous experience, and it's really bad optics for Joe Biden. You know, what was it? Harold Macmillan, the former British Prime Minister, who was asked what was the greatest challenge that he would face in his administration, and he said, "Events, dear boy, events." So this is what's happening to Joe Biden right now, because everything was going fine. He was going to Camp David, everything. We got this Afghanistan thing. Everybody's in favor of the pullout. All the Trump's people are in favor of it. Our side's in favor of it. So no big problem, except, you forgot about 10,000 people in Americans. And that number 10,000 is actually pretty significant because if you recall, I think it was last week or the week before, it seemed like the liberals were rooting for 10,000 COVID deaths in Florida or in the Deep South because they didn't have the vaccination policy. And so that number 10,000 is resonating, and it's boomeranging on the Democrats right now because they're at this moment, as of this writing right here, when we were recording right here, it doesn't appear that we actually have a plan. It wasn't supposed to happen this fast, and we don't have any plan of getting 10,000 Americans out.
Yeah, the administration officials were completely shocked by the hostility of the U.S. media.
Yes, it's Casablanca. I'm shocked, all over again. Yeah, right.
And they think it's 10,000. They don't even know if it's. They don't even know. They think at least 10,000.
We really don't know, and they still think it's going to, deny. It'll all blow over in a couple of months. Nobody cares about it. But if Americans, I'm thinking the magic word is going to be pallets. As in pellets of cash, like we gave to Iran. We're somehow, or it's like the Cuban Missile Crisis when, how did we end the blockade, the crisis? Oh, well, we gave up those Air Force bases in Turkey. There's going to be some kind of trade. There's going to be the Chinese are going to come to the rescue, like the Russians had to come to the rescue in Syria. But we're going to have more than egg on our face over this, and somehow we're because nobody expected it to happen this fast. It was supposed to happen, in 90 days. And yesterday, I saw Trump on Sean Hannity, and boy, when a guy who's been impeached twice actually looks presidential in comparison to the current president of the United States. Now, Trump actually didn't even want to try to look like he was ready for office because he was sitting there, and his hair was it was like an awning hanging over his, even more so than usual. But
he looked like a political cartoon of himself.
Totally. And I am Orange Man. But but it was just casual enough. And of course, Sean doesn't exactly challenge Trump. He's more like an obsequious servant. But Trump did say, yeah, I would have gotten everybody out of there first. Now, he's the one who set this in motion. But and I've become an expert. Herd mentality. Oh, yeah, I know all about that. But Guam Air Base, yeah, I know that. All of a sudden, I'm an expert on all these things. But why did we give that up? That was pivotal for us, in exiting, in the exit strategy, and we gave that place up. So,
there's not a lot of trains going out of there, not a lot of buses. I mean,
at least there's not going to be any boat people from Afghanistan. It's a landlocked country. Oh boy! Yeah, I was wondering, will NFL players this year be allowed to wear a decal that says "Afghan women's lives matter"? I'm just wondering about that. And speaking of the Afghan women, so there was this. I saw this on Twitter. This young Afghan woman crying about what was going to happen, and this is before Kabul fell. Let's watch her.
بأهمیت هستیم چون که توی ایران افغانستان بودیم میامدیم من نمیتونم یک لحظه حتی
She's not speaking English, is she? Right. See, it would have helped if she spoke English, but she's cute, and that matters. Oh, no, but that's all optics.
Apparently, the English in Afghani schools it's not the English
if you'd given them a few years to actually get the education, but now all of a sudden they're not being allowed. Okay.
That's because anyone.
I'm on her side. I wouldn't have to watch
anyone
her
who speaks English was employed as a translator. So.
So that's bad. And then we've got, of course, our own correspondent, CNN's very own Clarissa Ward, who found the metamorphosis was quite sudden in Afghanistan.
They're just chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time.
And I love the lilt. They're chanting death to America. It seems friendly at the same time.
Well,
I am being held hostage right now.
Of course they seem friendly. It's like being in the CNN break room. They shout death to America there all the time.
What else is new? So do we have another clip from her? Yes. Clarissa, back to you.
They've just told me to stand to the side because I'm a woman.
So you notice the lilt goes all of a sudden? It should have been, if she'd kept the cadence going, they told me to stand to the side because I'm a woman. No, the aside that she just said about being told to stand to the side. Sorry about that.
Not so friendly now, huh, Clarissa?
No. It was pretty bad. Now, I know that Biden is going to try to look at this as like, it was a snafu. Like the rollout of Obamacare. Yeah, we had some problems with the computers, but basically it became, it was all right after a while. I just think when you see that video of the plane, and people trying to get caught in the wheel wells or whatever and hanging on, and some guy dropped from a couple thousand feet. To me, there are stark images, and that's the equivalent of the Taliban having their knee on the chest of America for 9 minutes, and it's not going to go away. I don't think it's going to go away that soon, and I don't think. Biden is not playing 8-dimensional chess on this, so I think he's got some problems.
I think there's a resignation coming. But
they don't like to. The Democrats don't like to fire anybody. Who are you going to get General Milli Vanilli out?
There's a few Democrats still clinging to Biden like Afghanis on the side of a C-17.
Do you think we would actually? It's an overworked metaphor already, and we're only 8 minutes into the show. But no, keep going for it. I think you get 2 more, and I get 1 more today. But yeah, I actually thought, is it possible Biden could pull a William Henry Harrison, who died 1 month in the office, and he could just exit it? We'd have Kamala Harris as the president of the United States. It does seem like they're trotting him out now, and they're being very, very careful to bring him out just to make a speech and then yank him back, and he's not answering questions. And you're just wondering if, how long he can last through this. They're not asking him what. He even said, can you believe this? And boy, did he feed the line to everybody. A few days ago, he said, it's going to be a rocky road. And everybody was saying, oh, here are the ice cream questions again. So, when you say resignation, who do you think? How many times can you fire Alexander Haig or whoever's in there right now?
No, I think I really think that the media's turned on them. They're not even trying to cover for him. They're letting it all out. So I think he made some serious errors. I think everyone knows he made some serious errors, and I think like the people around him close are going, 25th Amendment time.
Oh, that's pretty fast. It did remind me of his speech when he of David Fry's impersonation of Richard Nixon. Do you recall that? I accept the responsibility, but not the blame. So, I do think, when you look at it, Trump wanted us to get out, probably would have screwed the pooch. 2, Biden wanted us to get out. That's bipartisanship. Now, that's the second example we've had of bipartisanship in the last little while. Remember the $1 trillion infrastructure deal? Oh, that's so long ago in the rearview mirror. All right, we'll come back to Afghanistan, but we got a guest coming up, Cara Castronuova, who's a former boxer, and please protect me, because she's tough and she's kind of the altish, rightish, and she's coming up after these words.
This morning, new details about 35-year-old Ashli Babbit, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer. Video captures the moment she fell to the ground during the chaos. He's got a gun! As others warned of the danger, medics then rushing her to the hospital, but she later died. A documentarian says he witnessed the shooting.
She was going strong, and next thing I know, she was shot. I do remember yelling guns when I saw guns and trying to warn her from going in. It was very slow motion because I was trying to, in my mind, trying to. And
we'll be talking about Ashli Babbit and other things on the weekly wrap with me, Bruce Wolf, and Tim Slagle. And we are pleased to be joined by Cara Castronuova, who is on the show called The Wise Guys on Newsmax on Saturday nights. Thanks so much for being on the show. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
And you, so far in our show, is in its infancy, but that is the best background that we've had for any guest so far. We had one guy who had a fake bookshelf behind him and then I asked him what books he had read behind him, and he said none of them. So I assume that you water all the plants behind you.
I do. I'm very much into watering my plants.
Well, there you go. Now, we should give a little background on you. You have an amazing background. For one thing, you won 2 Golden Gloves as a boxer, which is amazing. And you were also a boxing announcer. Did you do the Michael Buffer kind of?
I did.
You were. You could do his imitation. Do the imitation if you want. I do have to tell you that Let's Get Ready to Rumble is a registered trademark, as you well know. But go ahead and do it.
That.
So say something else.
You really have to talk from deep within. I'm not going to talk an introducing. You have to it's not an imitation actually when you do it, because you have to talk from your stomach, and when you talk from your stomach and your diaphragm, you actually sound like Michael Buffer, and it's odd. And people will say to me, "Oh, you shouldn't try to sound like Michael Buffer." I'm like, no, actually, anybody that talks from the diaphragm and announces boxing is going to automatically kind of sound like that. It just is inevitable. I'm not trying to sound like a guy, but nobody would hear me.
Well, let's hear it already. Let's hear what you do, how you do it.
Who should I introduce? Should I introduce you?
Yeah, introduce Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf fighting you. Because we're going to be fighting shortly.
Where are you from, Bruce?
From Skokie, Illinois.
And fighting out of the right corner, he is from Skokie, Illinois, Bruce. And then your last name.
Whoa!
Right.
Let's get ready to tumble.
Let's get ready to tumble. You know what I mean?
There you go. Pretty good. Now, you're also...
It's hard to do when you're close up. It's easy to do when you have a crowd that you have to get your voice out over. And what came in really... I always said to myself, what a useless skill this is, ring announcing, until I started doing rallies, until COVID happened and I started becoming an activist. I really never thought that would be a skill that would translate into anything whatsoever.
Sure. It's versatile. I mean, you can use it for something else, for rallying the crowd and all that. Now, it's interesting. You won your Golden Gloves at Madison Square Garden. This is how old I am. I know who the boxing announcer was at Madison Square Garden, like in the 1940s to 1970s. It was a guy named Johnny Addy. And, I mean, so you actually won boxing matches where and Johnny Addy would be considered. You ask Michael Buffer, he'd probably say that Johnny Addy was the great. Yeah. So I'm just trying to give you a little history of ring announcers.
I was so lucky to have gotten a chance to fight in Madison Square Garden. You know,
I mean, that's unbelievable.
I know, it was magical to say the least. Magical.
Isn't everything like it's like going downhill after you've won a Golden Gloves or two at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, it really is. A lot of the fights that happen nowadays, like even in Barclays Center, I just don't feel like it has, which is the new kind of Madison Square Garden in New York. It doesn't have that same magic as Madison Square Garden does.
What was your style? What was your style of boxing? If you could,
I was an aggressive counterpuncher in the end. In the beginning, I just like block punches with my head, and I had a lot of heart, and I moved forward a lot. And then I started to realize that really wasn't conducive to like wanting to be on TV. So I started moving my head more and counterpunching.
Did you float like a butterfly or anything? Or
I tried to. I really tried to emulate Floyd Mayweather. I love his style.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you have to be young and reflexive to be like Mayweather, but I really like the way he would not really get hit at all.
That's wonderful. And you were also a celebrity trainer on The Biggest Loser. So
yes.
That's amazing. Could you give me, because this is going to descend into a terrible fight that we're going to have. So before we do that, I just wanted to know, I would like 10 more yards on my 7-iron. And can you train me? Give me a couple of tips right now. What can I do to get 10 more yards?
Are you trying to lose weight?
No, it's not losing. I mean, that wouldn't be bad, but I mean, really just get tough.
You could hit from the women's tees.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, there you go.
I would say, I know this isn't about getting tough, but I mean, for me, I lose weight. And it's going to sound so boring, but I literally don't eat gluten. I think it's toxic. If you stop eating bread, you can eat. I call it the potato diet. I know it sounds weird, like eat all the potatoes you want whenever you feel like having something like bread or sugar. Just eat potatoes, and literally you'll lose weight. It's crazy.
Wait a minute. I thought eating potatoes is the thing that, it's carbs and it's going to make you gain weight.
They're natural. They're from the ground. They come out. You eat them just the way they come out of the ground. They're not processed. Same thing with white rice. I'm half Chinese. I've been eating white rice.
So you don't slice them and fry them in
exactly
peanut
what
oil.
I was going to say. Will you have something from the ground, sir, with your Big Mac? No, that's not exactly what you're talking about.
You mean raw potatoes, right?
Yeah. No, I just boil them, or you can bake them. Don't fry them.
Right, like they do in the Soviet Union. Okay, so all right, let's talk about Ashli Babbit. I looked at your Twitter feed and I noticed you're very partial to the family of Ashli Babbit, and I was just wondering. I mean, you don't look at her as a hero, do you?
I look at her as a martyr, and I really do. I think that she represents a movement that was stifled. I think that the Capitol. I don't know. I have no idea where your political leanings are, guys, but I do think that the Capitol.
I'm a squish conservative. You're a tough one. That's how I would describe it. Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, the thing is that she actually was breaking the law. She was going through a broken window, and
right. But we've all broken the law at some point in our life. I mean, to be the way I look, was she a hero? She was a war hero. She was in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I separate that from what she did in this particular circumstance, and she was breaking the law, and she should not be lionized because of that. I mean, would you want somebody? I remember when Tammy Duckworth, the senator from our state, actually toyed with the notion that it would be okay to tear down Mount Rushmore. And I was appalled by that. And you wouldn't want some of our great monuments taken down. And the Capitol, I mean, even with Nancy Pelosi in it, and I'll grant you that, is still a shrine, and it should not be breached. And that was wrong. And so Ashli Babbit is not a hero.
I'm not going to, like I said, I mean, I think that the punishment wasn't justified to her, she was shot.
No. Well, I mean, we don't know. We don't know exactly what happened there.
Right. So it's like, I think all that evidence is going to come out. I've been doing a lot of investigating, and you're right. I do speak to her family on a regular basis. They're really great people. Yeah. But she, I don't believe in destroying destroying or disrupting and breaking statues, anything like that. I think there's a difference between breaking a statue and breaking a window. And again, I'm not impartial. I'm really not. I try to take things objectively and fairly. She broke a window. She climbed in a window that was already broken. I just don't think it was justified for them to shoot her.
Well, you don't know. I mean, is it fair to say that you don't really know because you weren't privy to all the circumstances? How do you know?
Because I am privy to a lot of the behind the scenes investigations.
What do you know that we don't know? Because all we know is that the cop who shot her was exonerated by that, which doesn't mean there isn't a civil case against him, which is different. But we don't know if that would pass muster either. So, I mean, what evidence do you have that what he did was unreasonable under the circumstances?
Right. Well, the fact that the Nancy Pelosi committee, the one that they just have been airing everywhere a couple weeks ago, didn't even acknowledge Ashli Babbitt's death and didn't even bring into investigation the Capitol Police officer that shot her, shows me right there that they're trying to cover something up. That should be the first thing that's
well, that's Nancy Pelosi, and of course she's partisan, and I will concede that even her. Not even letting the Republicans who wanted to be on the committee to be on it was, just wrecked the credibility of that. But Nancy Pelosi is not a court of law. Nancy Pelosi is not the truth. So I'm not standing behind Nancy Pelosi. What I'm saying is that at this point, I mean, why don't you take my view, which is I don't know for sure what happened with Ashli Babbit. It should be thoroughly investigated. But at this point, we can't say that she was wrongfully shot.
Well, I could see where you're coming from for sure, and I do think there needs to be further investigation for sure. I don't think that the government is doing that investigation. I think the lawsuit of the family is going to really be what pushes the investigation, and that shouldn't be so. And I know that the Capitol Police, I'm not sure if you're aware, since they're part of the legislature, they're not. They don't have to answer Freedom of Information Acts because I've tried to write for Freedom of Information Acts to them. So they basically have no accountability whatsoever. There were other deaths that day. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, and this is factual. This is 100% factual. I don't go on camera and say something that isn't true. There was another woman that was killed that day. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Her name is Roseanne Boylan, besides Ashli Babbit. She was killed and beaten to death, or what seemed to be in a video. There was video of her. Let me rewind when I say that. I'm not going to say that the death blow was the blow from the stick, but it needs to be investigated.
Sure.
There's video of Capitol Police beating a woman who was laying unconscious on the steps with what looked like a large.
I mean, generally, though, you are pro-police, aren't you? Just like I am.
Fairness. I mean, I believe in law and order. I do believe that there's, that police should be held.
Do you think Derek Chauvin was guilty of murdering George Floyd?
It's interesting that you asked because I don't really. I do think he was guilty. I was the first person calling on Michigan that day. I saw the video of George Floyd being, the knee on his neck. I called Michigan.
How are you a Newsmax host if you're so reasonable?
I'm very fair. You know what I mean?
This is not Newsmax. This is.
I don't know about that.
You're fired from Newsmax. You may want to try to get a job with us. Look, will you come back for another segment with us? We'll talk about.
I do think Newsmax is very fair. You should give them another shot.
I guess so. If you're on it, they're fair. We'll be back.
Yeah, they are. Exactly.
Okay.
See, there you go.
Workers protesting outside the governor's mansion in Albany, making their message clear to Governor Cuomo.
We want to make our message clear, Governor Cuomo. You will never take away our civil liberties and our constitutional rights.
And that was Michael Buffer with kind of a soprano voice there. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap with Cara Castronuova, who is on the Wise Guys on Newsmax on Saturday night. Well, let's not be reasonable anymore. Let's get into a fight here. But what's your problem with Governor Cuomo, other than the fact that he's a pervert?
Ex-Governor Cuomo?
No, he's gone yet. Cuomo. Did he leave? Did he depart yet?
No, he hasn't.
And we don't even know yet. I mean, he's probably waiting. Hey, with this Afghanistan thing going and everything, probably nobody will even notice that I never left. But yeah, what's your beef with him?
My beef with him was from the very beginning. This is going back now. That rally was probably back over a year ago, a year and a half. It's insane. It was back in March or April. And it was the way he shut down New York State. I didn't agree with it. I thought it was a complete trampling of the Constitution. And I still feel that way. With or without COVID, there's, like I said back then, there's no pandemic clause in the Constitution. I don't think he handled it properly. And we were up at a rally, against Governor Cuomo, telling him to lift the restrictions on the state. That was what that footage was from. And I've had problems with him ever since, the way he handled the nursing home deaths, the way he was writing a book with using government dollars, the way that he was accepting all these awards when he knew that he was actually hiding a lot of facts from New Yorkers, the way I feel he destroyed a lot of small businesses in New York. He's very arrogant. He comes across as a bully. I just don't like him. And now with all the sexual...
how he handled his secretary.
Right. It's like,
Will you accept the nomination, the Republican nomination to be governor of the state of New York? I ask you that right now, Cara Castronuova.
Would I? Of course I would.
There you go. All right.
You
know how to yell, and rally people and all that. And of course, this was all before even the nursing home stuff and the chutzpah that he had. I'm using a New York word. Chutzpah. I figure everybody speaks, Yiddish in New York. Anyway, for getting $5 million for a book about what a hero he was, and now he's hopefully gone. But have you seen? Of course, you're well aware of the new restrictions that Mayor De Blasio has. Basically, if you're a minority, you can't even get into anything in New York right now or very shortly if you're not vaccinated.
Right. It's pretty much, known thing that a lot of minorities don't trust the vaccine and aren't vaccinated. So that's discrimination. It's medical discrimination regardless. It's kind of like mind-boggling to me and that I can't go in a restaurant because I haven't had a vaccine in New York City anymore. That if I want to meet up with friends, I am going to be the one who's left out. That I can't go to a gym in New York City. That I can't go to an event in New York City. I mean, it's insane. I can't believe that this is reality, but this is New York City right now.
Now, are you vaccinated?
So, I'm not. I have natural immunity. I actually have antibodies. Regardless of anything, I'm very healthy. I work out.
How do you know that? I mean, I don't even understand that. How do you know that you have the antibodies?
Well, there's an antibody test. I had COVID.
So you had COVID, so you're fine.
I've had COVID.
Okay, all right, all right. So you're cool.
Yeah, the natural vaccine.
Yeah, right. No, that's fine.
No, it's so much stronger to have COVID. Like when it comes to protection, a lot of people after they get the vaccine are still getting COVID. It's very rare for somebody to get COVID a second time, as far as I know.
No, I mean I
had the shot. I would have rather had COVID.
Right.
It depends on.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad for me. I mean, it was like the flu. I mean, I'm sure other people have had different experiences, and I'm not negating.
Well, you're young. You're young. I mean, we're oldsters here, so we probably benefited from the shot. But now, of course, you've got. I can't stand it. I go jogging in the neighborhood in the morning, and I see these poor little kids who are just starting school, and they're wearing masks to go to school, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's. I mean,
I didn't like wearing masks at Halloween.
There you go. I mean,
couldn't even stand the Halloween mask.
It makes Halloween superfluous this year. It does. Yeah, it is horrible, Cara.
No, I don't like it either. I mean, I have plenty of friends who are really against the mask. I don't like wearing it either. I only wear it when I really need to wear it. I really find it restrictive on breathing. I don't feel like it's healthy as a fitness person to wear a mask, and I don't think it really protects. I don't know for certain. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say I know for certain. But I know plenty of people that were wearing the masks and got COVID. So, I mean, the CDC keeps changing their guidelines. First, they told us if we got vaccinated, we wouldn't have to wear the mask. And that was a real reason, believe it or not. A lot of people hated the mask so much, they figured, let me get vaccinated so then I don't have to wear the mask. I know tons of people who did that. And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, just kidding.
Well, no, and I, as somebody who did get vaccinated and had to wait in line, a couple of times there, which was a great inconvenience for me, did not like the fact that now I've got to protect the unvaccinated. That doesn't make sense to me. And then I was at the deli at the food store the other day, and there was this guy who was probably morbidly obese, and he had a mask on. And I'm thinking, well, first of all, why are you at the deli getting anything? And now I've got to feel guilty that I don't have a mask on. And I was ready to yell at him, but I didn't.
Right. I guess it kind of like, it's funny because like you're saying, like you're mad because you don't want to wear the mask to protect the unvaccinated. But then it was like a year ago, people that I know didn't want to wear the mask because they're saying, your fear shouldn't trample on my freedom. Like because you're afraid of COVID, then you shouldn't, that doesn't mean I have to wear a mask. So it's kind of like reverse now.
Right, everything.
I find that to be really interesting.
Very, very
kind
confusing.
Of did a flip-flop.
Let's try to fight about something here because I'm with a boxer right now, and we're in the 10-point must system. I don't referee Slagle. What do you think? I think it's a draw so far, right?
Sure.
Yeah, this is not exactly the thrill in Manila. I mean, it's your night.
Right? You want to fight? Let's fight.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you like Donald Trump? Are you a Trump fan?
All right, here we go. All right, I'll tell you. I voted for him twice, but I think he's a horse's ass. What do you think?
I voted for him twice, and I vote for him a third time.
I may vote for him for a third time, but I still think he's a horse's ass.
He's sure.
I think he's so funny. You know,
Yeah.
he brought me a lot of joy. Like I love to go to sleep at night and watch his videos that during the day, check out his tweets, and I still feel withdrawal from
Well, of
it,
course,
you know?
you're biased because he actually supported you when you were going after Cuomo. Was it?
He retweeted me.
He
I met him a few
retweeted
times.
you. I mean, he's never retweeted me, so.
But I'm not biased. I liked him. I actually was running. I mean, I was actually volunteering for the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Oh my goodness, are you a flip-flopper?
Yeah.
I mean,
I did a huge flip-flop. And you know what?
When did the metamorphosis happen? It's almost like transgendering to go from Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump.
When I watched him do the debate against Jeb Bush, and he said there were no weapons of mass destruction, I was like, whoa. I couldn't believe he said that because I mean, like, this is something like I guess a liberal would say, and that he said it on a Republican stage, and I was like, this guy has like so much nerve, and everyone was like, he just killed himself. He's never gonna get elected. He's out tomorrow, and then he just.
It's funny because I think that may have been the very same moment, or very close to, when I got up off the couch and I was ready to slug Donald Trump because he was like, to me, the guy was all of a sudden second guessing what we had done, and at the time. That was the decision to be made. And now we get to Afghanistan. And, of course, Trump is on Sean Hannity last night, and he's saying, I never would have done any of this. Well, he did set it in motion, and maybe he would have gotten the 10,000 Americans who are there out. I don't know that he isn't just as feckless as Joe Biden on that. All right, let's argue about Afghanistan right now. Okay, 10-point must system here. Round 10.
Okay, let's
Johnny, ladies and gentlemen, and Wolf is cut. Angelo Dundee is using a styptic pencil and putting some eyeliner on him as well, so he can look half as good as his opponent. Go ahead. Yes, tell us.
Afghanistan. I mean, what do I think? I think that Joe Biden messed up severely. I'm not going to, I know everyone's saying, oh, it was Trump who started this deal, but there was no problems like this when Trump was in office. I think we had a pretty good record when it came to foreign affairs when Trump was in office. I do think that Joe Biden botched this up. I do think that if Trump was in office, this wouldn't have happened. I have that much faith in Donald Trump. It's terrible what's happening. I know that the women are panicking there because it's like they're totally going to be under Taliban rule now. I'm kind of in the middle when it comes to should we be that. As Americans, how much should we be involved in foreign affairs? Like I'm in the middle.
Well, I mean, aren't you worried about that? Here you've got a great terrorist base. It's called Afghanistan. Do you want another 9/11 situation?
No.
And that's what we're paying for. Well, then you got to pay for it. But Donald Trump, he thinks $42 billion a year is way too much money. He probably thinks 5 cents is too much money for this kind of thing. So, I mean, what do you got to put up or shut up on this stuff?
Yeah, I guess it's more than it's. It's stuff we're not paying attention to because we're all here in the U.S. arguing back and forth about masks and vaccines.
Right, we don't care.
By design, right? Yeah. And now all of a sudden, after the Taliban has taken over Afghanistan, and we're like, what the hell? Like it came out of nowhere. Well, we were all like fighting over like race relations and Asian hate and then all this stuff. And I feel like this is all media distraction.
Ding, 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 ding. That's the bout is over. It's over. It's all over. Let's go to ring announcer Tim Slagle.
Yeah, that looked like the final blow right there. That's,
Tim Slagle.
No way you can recover from that one.
Who won this bout between me and the kosher comet, Bruce Wolf, and Cara Castronuova?
I'm going to go with Cara.
Oh, great!
Thank you.
Because you like her background. Come on, she's got the plants. I've got the
because she
wood
could
paneling.
beat the hell out of me.
Yeah, me too. I'm a little bit scared. Well, so you're going to be on Saturday nights.
Saturday nights
the
at
Wise Guys.
10 p.m. But that's
10 p.m. That's Eastern time. Your Eastern bias right there. Okay,
yes.
9 o'clock. Flyover time, as we call it. And all right, so we'll look forward to your announcement that you're going to run for the Republican nomination for governor.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
That would be terrific. You know how to yell. Oops. You know how to project your voice right now, and you might want to get the little hair, or is that's intentional, right?
No, it's not.
Because when I let it fall down,
thank you for letting me know at the end.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much, Cara Castronuova, for joining us. We appreciate it, and don't forget to plug our show, even though you forgot our names already.
No, I will. I will plug your show. Please send me the link.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cara Castronuova, Bruce Wolf, and Tim Slagle. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the... They're only supposed to knock twice. Let's do it again. Weekly wrap. We just talked to Cara Castronuova.
I would love to see her in the governor's mansion in Albany. Just because...
Can you believe I was giving her fashion tips? Ridiculous. The chutzpah of me. She actually has a even more interesting background than I gave you before. Her father was a Vietnam vet. He died of complications from Agent Orange.
Oh, man.
And he's buried in Arlington Cemetery. And I actually was going to say, remember when I said, how about Mount Rushmore? I was going to say, your dad's buried in Arlington Cemetery. But that's getting kind of too personal. You remember when Bernard Shaw was in the debates in '88 with Dukakis? He said, well, what if your wife were raped?
Yeah.
Would you be in favor of abortion? Dukakis should have just gotten his pith helmet on and rammed Bernie Shaw and said, don't ask me a question like that, you horse's ass.
Taking off the headphones.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, she's her mother is like Chinese and Filipino, father an American. So she's kind of like Tiger Woods. She's got that combination going for her.
Got some intersectionality points.
Very good. And she was enjoyable to talk to. But the reputation that Newsmax has isn't it alt-right? She seemed fine to me.
I think they're trying to lose that.
Oh, okay.
In today with the mainstream media reporting all these fake stories for 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's credible anymore.
Except us. Back to Afghanistan, just very briefly. So when it comes down to it, Biden is basically saying what Trump has always said. It's a, I can't use the word because we're on channel 59.3. It's a crap hole country. Yeah. That's what he was saying. But if Trump uses, the Democrats' virtue signal. Oh, we care about human rights. Nancy Pelosi talking about women and girls. And why do women and girls get special consideration? I thought we were all equal now. All of us, we're going to protect women. Next thing you're going to tell me we're not going to have them register for the draft, and that they shouldn't be on the boys shouldn't be on their teams.
I think the proper way to say it is it's an underserved country. Right. That's how you say it now.
So sometimes the best advice is don't just do something, stand there. And that's what Biden should have done. He could have. No, it wasn't a big issue in American politics. And he, for some reason, felt the need. It's a Trump policy, for crying out loud. Nobody would have done anything. He spent $42 billion as a rounding error in the AOC infrastructure bill.
It's the only Trump policy he didn't overwrite with an executive order.
The one. And to compare what he said on July 8th to what he wound up saying, which was, and July 8th, they've got 300,000. The Taliban are going to cause any problems.
No way will you see helicopters on the embassy roof.
Right. The telltale thing was he uses the Latin. He says, they need a modus vivendi. Okay, now, a modus vivendi is getting two sides that don't agree to somehow come to some sort of reconciliation. But when you throw in Latin, look, I went to law school, and I did better than Biden did in his law school, where he was, I think, 78th out of 83. I was at least 74th out of 83. And when you throw in the Latin, where you don't need it to impress people, all I can say, Joe Biden, is res ipsa loquitur to that. The thing speaks for itself. He had to use Latin. You knew that he was BSing.
I thought it was an Italian sports car, the modus vivendi.
It's a floor wax and an Italian sports car. So, all right, the Pittsburgh Steelers and now the Oakland Raiders, apparently. What are they? The LA? Where are they? The Las Vegas Raiders, right? The Oakland Raiders. Have superseded what the Steelers did, but we have their new mask policy up on the board here, and they said that everybody, all fans were required to bring their masks for the upcoming preseason game against the Detroit Lions on Saturday, August 21st, and that when they were people were in the concourse areas, they would have to wear masks, and there's all kinds of these crazy rules. The Raiders have gone one better. Now you have to show that you were vaccinated. But I was thinking, shouldn't the players wear masks in the huddle because it's close quarters, worse than Lollapalooza, or while tackling? I would think that you should put the mask on at that point.
I think Lions fans have been wearing masks for years.
They're like the Saints fans with the bags over their heads. They don't have. That would be superfluous to wear the mask. But yeah. And this was the skybox situation I was in at Kaminsky Field a couple of weeks ago, but it could happen at Heinz Field as well. If you're in a skybox, they're saying, oh, you don't need to wear the mask because the windows are open. But if you walk back 15, 20 feet to the bar area and you're mingling, so then you got to put the mask on? I mean, just...
Well, no, because then you have an excuse beverage.
Oh, gosh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Now, I would also like to direct your attention to the penultimate paragraph, which says, fans will not be required to show proof of vaccination to enter Heinz Field, however, in accordance with CDC guidelines, unvaccinated fans should wear a mask at all times. And my point here would be, shouldn't there be a semicolon after Heinz Field and then... However, it should have a comma after that as well. I mean, as long as we're nitpicking about when to wear masks and everything, can't I nitpick about punctuation?
I think we have to add Bruce's grammar corner to this.
I mean, I hate when people just throw... Well, I just can't stand when people use... they throw however in, however they want. And there's never... and I had to do all this stuff when I was working for the Lerner newspapers 40 years ago. And so I'm going to rub it in and make everybody else do it as well. Yeah. No, and I get upset with people who have spelling errors on Twitter. I'll correct that as well. Yeah, I am.
There's no excuse
I'm a bit punctilious. I will admit that. I will admit that. So speaking of football, Andy Dalton has fallen faster than Kabul, I would say. Okay, there's my second one using it because all of a sudden they want to go, and I know you don't know anything about it, but just fake it. I want to say Jay Fiedler. No, it's Justin Fields. He had a good quarter or half against the second and third teams of the Miami Dolphins, and then said, it kind of looks slow to me out there. And this is Olin Kreutz, good old number 57, although Tom Thayer is my favorite number 57 of all time in the Bears. He said, well, what quarterback is going to tell you that it looked fast to him? So, I mean, he knows how to talk the talk there. But everybody's excited about this, and should he get... first string reps in practice, and should he start the first game of the season? And I ask you, Tim, would you like to punt on that question?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move forward to Jay Cutler, who is apparently, he's back on Twitter, I know, and we should get him as a guest. For some reason, I think Cutler reminds me of myself because I have this certain sneer when I'm standing on the sidelines, and it looks like I don't care, when in fact 30% of me does care. And but anyway, he's
30% that doesn't shows.
Yeah, right. And he's running for the school board, and it's his business to do that. Let's listen to Jay Cutler.
Former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler announced on Twitter that he has been dropped from an Uber Eats ad campaign due to his views on mask mandates for children in schools. Lost a commercial with Uber Eats partnering with the NFL, Cutler wrote on Twitter. Was going to film in LA, views aren't aligned.
Oh, I didn't know they had like robocalls doing these these announcements.
Oh, they wanted to hike minimum wage for news anchors, so they found an automation to do it.
Jay is not politically correct. I know that he's a Tucker Carlson fan as well, which means you're a fan of conspiracy theories. And a lot of people believe in the conspiracy theory that Jay tanked during the second half of the NFC title game against the Packers. That he should have just rubbed dirt on his knee when he couldn't come back for the second half.
He had the twisties.
No, I think he was actually hurt. But how did he even survive in an NFL locker room? He probably didn't voice. So he was at his best when he was just standing there snickering on the sidelines. At least he wasn't saying what he actually believes, that he didn't believe. Can you imagine him with the stickers right now, the decals that they're wearing? And he probably doesn't even believe in any of that stuff. Neither do I. But
but you don't put a sticker on your helmet.
Yeah, but I just wonder about Jay. And
he's not working for Uber Eats anymore. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that existed. Oh, it does. Oh, that's like DoorDash, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So coming up, we've got what we call the Snopes segment.
I can't wait for that.
Which is our producer. Just humor him. He likes it. Snopes, of course, is this fact check outfit. And like
fact,
yeah, right.
Check.
PolitiFact is a fact check, and you have to check. As Juvenal said, "Who will watch the Watchers?" I don't know if you know, like Robert Feeder is the watcher of the watchers in the media. I watch the watcher of the watchers. That's how meta I am. But this guy who founded Snopes, or was one of the big wigs, actually was found to be a plagiarist and a fraud. And so now Snopes
is an adulterer.
Oh, well, there we go.
And an embezzler.
I should have put the adultery as the first thing, of course. And
he was actually taking money from Snopes to buy hookers.
Oh, well.
While he was married to the other founder of Snopes.
Oh, that's such a terrible.
And that was
years.
That was years ago. And now
it's a terrible thing.
Now they found that he doesn't have character.
Exactly. Well, you always find about these people, like Ayn Rand. She had all these noble ideas. But in her whole life, her personal life was a total mess. Okay, I mean, she didn't respect anybody. She was ordering people around all the time.
I still think that she inserted the whole her whole philosophy on love into Atlas Shrugged, just as an excuse to have an affair with her intern.
But I mean, that's where it goes. I mean, first of all, she was Florence. I want to say Florence Henderson. Florence King, one of my favorite writers in National Review years ago.
Florence Henderson was having an affair with her intern.
I think so. She once said that who are we talking about right now?
Miss Florence
Reporter? No, we are talking about
Mikkelson, Snopes.
No, we're talking about Ayn Rand. That she was a nice Jewish girl, and she never admitted that she was a Jew. We'll be back. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap, and it's time for the bonus block, or the block bonus. And we bring in, we're going to play the Snopes game.
Oh, I can't wait.
In honor of the plagiarist, adulterer,
Sure.
and what else did he do?
Embezzler. Embezzler, plagiarist, adulterer, and had synonyms, too.
Cheated himself at solitaire, I understand, when he was 17. 17.
But he's always right on with the facts.
Sometimes. So, Chris, let's play the Snopes game.
Well, as you say, in honor, which was not scheduled, we rushed this together.
Sure.
After the story.
Did we ever say the guy's name?
David Mikkelson.
Oh, yeah. David Mikkelson. Okay.
Yes. When you were trying to find Ayn
Rand
in your brain,
right?
Sure. Said it a couple of times. Mikkelson, a good Danish boy, by the way.
Okay.
I am Danish as well. Let's get right to it. We're gonna rattle through these, and I found had a search. They haven't completely scrubbed all of Mikkelson's work on the site, though they did scrub all his fake ones, the ones he did under different names. Did you see the pedigrees he created for these people?
Oh, that's wonderful.
They were Pulitzer Prize winners. These people that he had created, they were
the imagination.
Yeah, so he's vivid.
I mean, Joe Biden, a great plagiarist himself. Not a great plagiarist. He was a bad plagiarist. It knocked him out of the 1988 campaign, which is why when we had standards.
Well, now I think he's cribbing off of Jimmy Carter.
Oh, yeah, right. We've got a malaise right now. No question about it.
And he didn't go with names like, Jack Smith. Jeff Zerandonia was one of his fake names.
That's good.
So that was the Pulitzer Prize winner.
There was one that was an anagram.
I thought Zerandonia was. I was trying to figure it out myself. I am a Nazi, I think. Yeah. All right.
So something he did in, I think this was 2015. Biden made a disrespectful joke to a father of a Navy SEAL.
So
this would be still when he was vice president.
So we have to guess whether these are real Snopes stories or made up Snopes stories. Is that the game?
Is it? Did this check out? Is it true?
Is the story true, or is this an actual Snopes story?
Well, confusing because it involves Mr. Mikkelson.
Right.
we're just going back to is this true?
Did this actually happen?
Or
we're being like Snopes right now. We're
Tim, we played with Dobie when he was here, but we've now combined the unproven and half to make it easier. So it's three things: true, false, unproven, or can't figure it out.
That Biden made a joke about the Navy's.
Biden made a disrespectful joke to the father of a Navy SEAL.
I'll say that's true.
I'll say that's true and proven.
This is a undetermined or 50-50 because although the father on the record has said he did, that is not enough proof, apparently. Because the following day, the mother said, they were very nice to us at the White House. Did not mention...
But those aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah, they're saying death to America, but they're friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't...
To me, isn't that the perfect Snopes thing, though? Well, we couldn't figure it out, even though the father on the record said this is what Biden said.
Well, because they're protecting Biden.
Correct. So this is what Biden said. This is the father.
Plagiarists of a feather.
What did he say?
Speaking of Biden, this is the father. An hour later, he came over and approached me, Woods told Beck. In an extremely loud and boisterous voice, he asked, "Did your son always have balls the size of cue balls?"
Oh, well, there you go. You know, Biden is missing this moment right now, as of this writing, because he was very cruel to the Afghan people. His whole tone is it's like I mean he could be sympathetic. Oh, this is a terrible thing, we got to leave or something. But no, it's like it's a crap hole. That's what he's saying.
Did your son have balls before the Taliban cut them off?
Moving on.
Okay.
So 0-0. The viral Trump versus Biden gas prices meme is highly misleading. This is how they start the. Is it highly misleading or is it not? This is Snopes fact checking the meme that's out there, and it shows one where it's $1.83. Yeah, and then the other one where it's
$4.95. Yeah.
Right, because the Trump meme is when Trump was growing up in Queens.
This meme was from a couple days ago.
No, but
floating around.
I mean, that's when the gas prices
they didn't
were.
say where the gas prices from this.
So
is the
prices are higher. What can I say?
So you're saying that?
I mean, let's get OPEC to pump more oil because we shut down all our sources.
But Snopes is probably saying it's false because of the prices have nothing to do with Biden and it has to do with people going back to work.
I'll agree with that. I'm going to piggyback on that one. Right. I concur, said Justice Thomas.
Well, a very convincing argument from Tim. It is false based on. They say it's not accurate, though the picture is from when Trump was president a year ago, and the picture is from when Biden was the president, as Tim would say.
But it's misleading.
And the prices are way off because they have two things. One was taken in Texas and one in California, so of course it's going to be a little bit different, of course. But also, just for exactly what Tim says, nothing to do with Biden. They go in and defend Biden and say...
But they always defend Biden.
So you have to put that in your head when you do that. We do not recommend basing broad and declarative conclusions on two seemingly cherry-picked pictures showing gas prices.
But they cherry-picked about the cherry-picking. Yeah.
Cherry-picked cherries.
Very well put. So we are now tied at one apiece. Moving on. Is Biden letting thousands of illegal immigrants into the U.S. without COVID testing?
No, they're being tested, and then they're
letting them.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're in. Yeah. So now go to the red states and infect all those rednecks. Yeah.
So you're going to say that it is true.
It's true
that he is.
It's not a good game if you have to ask me what my answer was.
Well, you didn't give an answer.
I thought. That's the problem.
I would say immigrants. I'm going to do the same thing I did in the last one. Immigrants are coming into the country without COVID tests. However, Biden isn't letting them in. He has nothing to do with it.
Oh, they'll exculpate Biden.
Yeah, Biden has.
The theme of this Snopes is that Biden is never wrong.
Right.
Okay, I'm getting it.
So in the spirit, and Tim is leaning on the right way to go with this, but they say mostly false because they are, but for the majority are being tested and let go. They don't know what happens after they're tested. Yeah. That's how they're defending it.
Oh, my goodness.
And of course...
Jose, I think I'm getting the theme.
Jose, I have your results. Jose?
and here's the first sentence after the headline is, of course, Snopes interjecting their opinion. this is not the first time in history that immigrants have been accused of spreading disease.
Oh, yeah, right.
Let's do
Meanwhile, Joe Biden, when he was a senator, didn't want any of them dang Vietnamese refugees coming here. He didn't.
And of course,
the Democrats didn't want him, and that's why the Vietnamese always voted Republican. So now's the time for the Republicans to embrace the idea of Afghans coming over here.
I might add that every Thanksgiving and Columbus Day we're reminded that immigrants brought disease.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the whole guilt trip. Yeah.
All right, we're shifting off of Biden.
Now that I got it.
Well, because you got too familiar with the pattern. Are firearm suicides more common than mass shootings?
Are firearm suicides?
Yes. This was
well, of course, that's how you define a mass shooting.
Well, they use I will give you that. They use the now, I believe.
Yeah, I'll say suicides are more.
7 or more involved, or no, 3 or more involved in a shooting is considered a mass shooting.
I will say that,
that down.
Firearm shootings are more prevalent than mass shootings, but that Snopes will somehow say that it wasn't, that it isn't.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna weasel out of this one unless they say that the mass shootings are suicides.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Well, now we have to go back.
Because
I threw you off. I built you up, and Snopes was actually honest and said, no, suicides are more common than mass shootings.
Yeah, right.
60% of all shootings are suicides. Did you know
that?
Oh,
absolutely.
60%.
If you watch like Hillary Clinton with her sleight of hand during the debates with Trump, I just remember this. She was arguing for gun control, and she threw in and suicides. So that she just threw that because if you don't have suicides in there, you don't have the stats. You don't know how to beef up the stats.
And if anybody knows about suicides, it's Hillary.
Oh my goodness! Somebody self-immolate that. Oh right, here we go, Vince Foster. Here's your new Newsmax host. They're getting weak, but let's bring him to Newsmax. Yeah. Vince Foster.
Here's the final question. Yeah. Bruce, can I get a little mouth organ, please? We're going back to the origins of Snopes, what it was kind of built on from the beginning, and asking a fun, non-political one. Is Isaac Newton's apple tree still alive?
Oh. You know, it's funny that you mention that because we stand on the shoulders of giants. William F. Buckley stood on the shoulders of Russell Kirk, who stood on the shoulders of Edmund Burke, who stood on the shoulders of Isaac Newton.
But he made a great fig cookie.
Oh, yes, he did. So is the tree still around?
Is Isaac
if Isaac Newton's tree falls, does that prove that there's gravity and no one's there? Yeah. I will say that it met its untimely death during I don't even know where Isaac Newton's tree was.
So probably England, huh?
I would guess so. A spreading chestnut tree, if I recall. And I would say that it died an untimely death last year.
Yeah, I think they dug it up when they put in the tubes.
There we go. Right.
It is still alive.
Wow. Wow.
In an orchard in Woolsthorpe Manor, England.
Is that where it was when the apple hit him?
Apparently, I don't think they moved it. They built a nice little rock fence around it.
Well, didn't Galileo stand on top of that and drop a couple of things? Or am I confusing scientific experiments?
No, that was the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I think
that's right. That's right. That's still leaning.
It is. Yeah. Here, quickly, Tim, for you. It is the same tree where he came up with the law of gravity is still thriving in his family home where he spent his childhood.
Oh, how about that?
So that is it.
I love learning science.
Tied 2-2 this time.
Great. Well, I just copied him on one of them. So I'm a Biden.
Went
type.
with the theme.
Once again, thanks so much, Tim.
Always
thanks for letting me plagiarize. Appreciate that. We hope to be back next week. Same time, same bat channel.
With more Afghani metaphors.